Hey guys, welcome back to my channel. For today's video, I wanted to do my first Shop My Stash, which I'm kind of surprised that I've never done one before because they are some of my favorite videos to watch. So I'm going to be doing my first one today, and I already went ahead and picked out a full face of makeup. I was going to take you through the process of me picking everything out, but I figured that might take a little too much time, especially since my makeup isn't super organized. It's not terrible, but I feel like I could come up with a better organization system for everything. I did pick out a few things in here that are kind of new. They were released within the past few months. I just haven't gotten around to really testing them out, or I just haven't used them that often. So I want to see how I really feel about them. So let's just go ahead and get started. So I thought I was recording the entire time that I was doing my eyeshadow because I was gonna do my eyes first and then do my skin, but turns out I wasn't even recording, so I had to wipe it all off, and now I have a little bit of glitter on my face, but that's okay. I'm just gonna keep on moving. So since I did have to go in with some makeup remover underneath my eyes, I'm gonna lightly rehydrate. So I'm gonna take the Wet n Wild Photo Focus 3-in-1 Primer Water. This is in the coconut scent. I think they have a cucumber and a rose scent as well. And my favorite is still the rose scent. I don't know why, I just prefer like not just the scent of that, but the way it feels on my skin. It just feels a little bit more gentle on my skin. I wasn't gonna use a primer today since I do have my sunscreen on. I am using the Can Make Tokyo Mermaid Skin UV Gel, which I did talk about in my full face of current makeup favorites video, which should be up before this one, and I will go ahead and link that below and I think up here as well. I do have a little bit left of this, but I think I might only have like 3 to 4 more uses left, so I'm gonna try to use it up. For foundation today, I'm going to be using the NYX Born to Glow Naturally Radiant Foundation, and I have 2 shades of this, True Beige and Warm Vanilla. I do have to mix them because True Beige, which is this one, is just way too dark on me, and Warm Vanilla is way too light. So I'm going to go ahead and mix those on my palette. I have used this foundation, I think, about 3 times, and I do remember liking it. So here's a foundation on my palette. The darkest shade is True Beige, and then Warm Vanilla is the lightest one. So hopefully this matches me once I mix it up. So I'm gonna apply it directly to my face. Oh, that looks a little bit yellow. I'm gonna mix in a little bit more of Warm Vanilla. I think I haven't really reached for this because of the shades that I have. Okay, that should match me pretty well. So I'm just blending that out with my Real Techniques sponge. Okay, it's still a little bit yellow, but I think I can make it work once I apply concealer and powder. And I'm just gonna go directly in with my sponge for the other side. It's just faster that way. So normally I don't mind having to mix foundation shades to get my perfect match, but for some reason in this one, at least like the 2 shades that I picked out, I can still look a little too yellow. Okay, so I am really liking the finish of this foundation. It just evened out my skin tone, and especially like the redness on my cheeks that I always tend to get. Again, the shade isn't perfect, but I think with concealer and powder, it'll even out. But so far, I do really like it. I didn't really remember how I felt about this foundation. I just remember it did look kind of glowy and just nice overall, but I'm liking it more than I remember. For concealer, I'm gonna take that NYX Born to Glow Radiant Concealer in the shade Soft Beige. Now, this concealer I have also used a few times. I think the only complaint I have is the applicator. I do prefer a doe foot applicator, but I mean, it's not terrible. It's just something about the sponge applicators that kind of throw me off. But it does have a really nice radiant finish. So I'm gonna blend that out with my sponge. And I'm gonna apply some of that concealer on the lids to prime for eyeshadow. This is what I used the first time that I tried filming this. And I did like the way my eyeshadow blended over top of it. So I'm just first tapping that out with this Real Techniques contour brush. And then I'm just gonna take my sponge. Okay, so far I'm really liking the way this concealer looks underneath my eyes. It just looks really nice and even, and it doesn't emphasize my dryness or my fine lines, and it did a really nice job at covering up my dark circles. So far so good. And I'm gonna set everything in place with my number 7 translucent Perfect Light loose powder. This is such a nice powder. I just haven't used it in a while since I've been really hooked on my Wet n Wild powder and my Cover FX powder. I would recommend this powder to anyone who feels like the Laura Mercier translucent powder is too drying on them, because this one does such a nice job at setting your makeup, but it never looks drying or powdery. I think it does have hyaluronic acid in it, so that's probably why. It just makes everything look really nice and even. And I'm gonna just add whatever's left on the brush from the brow bone down to the crease. For eyeshadow, I picked out the Going Coconuts palette from Colourpop. This is such a nice neutral palette, and I have used it a few times, but it's been a little while since I reached for it. I think it's just because I've been reaching for so many of my colorful palettes. So I'm gonna dip into the shade Lovely Bunch, which is this one right here. And I'm gonna take that on a Morphe JH32 brush, which is a fluffy blending brush. I'm just gonna do a light wash of this color. I'm not gonna build it up too much. And then I'm gonna take the shade Shell Yeah, and I'm gonna take that on a Morphe M433 brush. I'm gonna start on the outer corners of the eyes first, and then blend it into the crease. I'm gonna build up that shade a little bit more. And I'm just gonna take that fluffy blending brush and lightly blend over those two shades. And I'm gonna take the shade Cocoa Crush and apply that all over my lid with my finger. I'm just gonna tap that on and hope that I don't get too much fallout. And then I'm just gonna take that M433 brush and lightly blend around the edges. Okay, surprisingly, I barely got any fallout, and I think that's just because I was super careful. And I'm gonna take this darkest shade in the palette, which is called Nutty, and I'm gonna take that on a really tiny pencil brush. This is a Morphe JH39 brush. I'm gonna apply that really close to the upper lash line, kind of like a liner, but I'm not winging it out. And for the lower lash line, I'm gonna take the shade Shell Yeah on a Sigma E30 pencil brush. I'm also gonna take a little bit of the shade Lovely Bunch on that same pencil brush. And I'm gonna take the shade Nutty and apply that really close to the lower lash line. So I'm just keeping it right out here, and I'm not bringing it in even halfway. And I'm just gonna take that E30 pencil brush and blend that out. Moving on to the brows, I'm gonna take my LA Girl Shady Slim Brow Pencil in the shade Black Brown, I believe. I haven't used this in a little while because I've been so hooked on my Maybelline Brow Ultra Slim Pencil. That's just my current favorite at the moment, but I do really like this one. And I'm gonna do a really natural brow look, which is what I've been doing pretty much all the time. To set my brows in place, I'm going to take my Milk Makeup Cush Fiber Brow Gel in the shade Grind. This is a really good brow gel if you want to add some volume and to kind of make your brows look nice and fluffy. I really like this one. I just haven't reached for it in a little while. And I think this one is close to drying out. So I'm definitely going to try to use it up before it completely dries out. For mascara, I'm taking the KKW Beauty Mascara, and this one I do like the way it makes my lashes look. It does give a bit of volume and it makes them look really nice and separated, but it doesn't last on me. It does tend to flake and smudge throughout the day, so for that reason I'm not the biggest fan of this mascara. Here is the wand. So I do like the way it makes my lashes look, but I don't think I'm gonna repurchase this. I think I have about a month at most left to use this mascara until it dries out. And since this mascara does have more of a wet formula, I like it more now that it dried out a little bit. Now I'm going to tightline with my Milani Stay Put eyeliner in the shade Semi Sweet, which is a dark brown. Okay, that is it for the eyes. I'm going to move on to bronzer. I haven't reached for my Physicians Formula Butter bronzer in quite a while. I've just been reaching for other ones since I was using this for such a long time. I wasn't using other bronzers at all at one point. So this is just a go-to for me. The smell just always makes me feel some kind of way. And I'm gonna apply that with this Wet n Wild brush. And I like to first pat it on and then start buffing it out. Wow, I almost forgot how good this bronzer is. It just blends out like nothing. And the shade is just perfect as well. Okay, for blush, I'm taking the Buxom Wanderlust Primer-Infused blush in the shade Seychelles. I know I picked this out for my everyday makeup drawer that I uploaded late last year, I think in December, but I just haven't used it that often. I got really into just other blushes in my collection, and this one I do really like. It has a really like glowy look to it, which I like in blushes. And I'm gonna be applying that with my Sigma F40 brush. I love the glowiness of this blush. For some reason, the first time that I used it, I wasn't that impressed, but I was having a lot of skin issues at the time, so I wasn't really liking a lot of makeup. So I haven't used this setting mist in a while, and I think that's just because I didn't feel like it really made my makeup last. This is the Colourpop Pretty Fresh Hyaluronic Acid Setting Mist. Other than just taking down the look of powderiness, I don't feel like it makes my makeup last any longer, but I'm still gonna use it today. I do really like the mist on this. Let me see if you can see it. Yeah, it's a really, really fine mist. I just don't feel like it does much, but I am gonna apply a little bit. This is such a fine mist that I almost feel like I'm not applying it to my face because I don't even feel it when it goes on. And the scent reminds me of the one from that Wet n Wild primer water. It's almost identical in my opinion. So it does have a really nice scent. I'm gonna have to keep trying it out and see how I really feel about it, maybe with other foundations. So moving on to lips, I'm gonna line my lips with the Maybelline Color Sensational Shaping Lip Liner in the shade Totally Toffee. The times that I've used this, I do really like it. It almost feels like the Colourpop lippy pencils or the LA Girl retractable lip liners. They have like a matte finish to them, so they do last a really long time on my lips. They're so nice and creamy as well. Oh my god, my lips are so freaking dry. Sorry about that if you had to see that this whole time that I was doing my makeup. So I pretty much filled in my entire lips with that, and I'm gonna take the Smashbox Always On liquid lipstick in the shade Stepping Out. This is one of my favorite liquid lipstick formulas, and it's a really pretty deep nude sort of mauve-y shade. I'm really loving this lip combination. I hadn't actually paired the Maybelline lip liner with the Smashbox liquid lipstick before, but I think it looks so nice, especially paired with this eye look. Overall, I'm really liking the way this look turned out. I completely forgot about highlighter. I don't know what is up with me today. I'm just like all over the place. But for highlighter, before I forget, I'm gonna take the Wet n Wild Megaglo highlighting powder in the shade Precious Petals. This was such a huge hit when it was first released, I think a couple of years ago. I remember everyone was raving about it, and I was trying to purchase it at the time, but it was sold out pretty much everywhere. But this is what the highlighter looks like, as I'm sure most of you have seen by now. It is really nice and intense, but I feel like it just looks so pretty on the skin. And I'm gonna take that on the e.l.f. small tapered brush, the one that I use to set my face. I don't really see anyone talking about these anymore, but they are some of the best drugstore highlighters in my opinion. And I'm gonna take a smaller brush and apply some of that on the inner corners of the eyes. And then I'm gonna take just a tiny bit of the shade Palm Reader, just a smidge right over top. All right, so here is the completed makeup look. I had so much fun filming my first Shop My Stash video. I don't know what took me so long to film one of these, but I'm definitely gonna be doing these on a regular basis, so watch out for that. And that completes this video. Thank you guys so much for joining me today. I really appreciate it. If you did enjoy this video, make sure to give it a thumbs up and subscribe if you'd like to see more of my videos. And I will see you in the next one. Bye.